Actually, yeah, why didn't God just send Jesus instead of sending the flood back in Genesis? I've said before that it's stupid that Jesus even has to come back to begin with because apparently he was on earth and didn't take care of business the first time. Like, the story should have ended with Jesus ascending into heaven and taking all of the believers with him the first time that he was on earth so he wouldn't have to come back. But now you've got me thinking, why didn't God just take care of business back in Genesis, the first time that he was like, oh, the people are sinful, I gotta do something about it. Now, of course, there's the Book of Enoch, which states that the reason why God had to flood everything was because the people were half human, half giant, and it was like a genetic thing. But the Book of Enoch is not in the Bible, at least not the one that we read today. So we're gonna go with what they decided to include in the story, and that part doesn't make any fucking sense. This God is described as being all-knowing, which means that he knew when he sent the flood that he was eventually going to send Jesus. So God sat there and decided that this group of people had to die by the flood, but that later on he was going to send his son to save the next group of people. Which is also fucking funny because if he's all-knowing, that means he knew that the flood wasn't going to work. Because he knew that he was eventually going to send Jesus, and he did the flood anyway. That's why I always laugh when Christians are talking about like John 3:16, like, oh, God so loved the world that he sent his son to save us. Yeah, God hated the world so much that he sent a flood to kill everyone. And he could have sent Jesus back then. He didn't love that world, did he? And I know the Christians like to say like, oh, well, God is different in the New Testament. That was the Old Testament. God was different back then. When God himself says in Malachi 3:6 that he does not change. And so the God who sent the flood is the same God who sent Jesus. Old Testament, New Testament, it's the same God, bitch, and he's still just as bad as he was in the Old Testament. Nothing has fucking changed because he says that he does not change. The more that I read the Bible, the more that this God sounds like a fucking lunatic. Killing people, knowing that it's not gonna do anything, but just being like, let's just flood them, let's just do it. Is bro bored? I'm really wondering at this point.